Assalamu alaikum friends, this is Murtaza Hussain Kazmi again. Today I am going to discuss with you about action selectors. In my previous lecture I had discussed about action methods. So let's see what action selectors are. Basically, action selector is the attribute that can be applied to the action methods. You can use it in place of the actual name of the action method which you have defined in your controller class in order to provide some ease, or in order to hide actual names of the action methods from the end user and giving them access to what is more user friendly and more good for them to remember. So you can just apply it on the action methods before the name of the action method. It helps routing engine to select the correct action method to handle a particular request. So whenever you will do it, action MVC's action MVC's routing engine will read it and will route your request to the appropriate action method against that particular request which you have made from your browser. So MVC 5 includes the following three action selector attributes. The first one is action name, the second one is non-action, and the third one is action verbs. So let's see and discuss all these three one by one. But in this lecture, I will discuss the first two, one action name and the non-action, while the action verbs will be discussed in my coming series of lectures. Most probably in the next lecture I will discuss and I will teach you about action verbs. So let's see what action name is and how it works. So action name attribute allows us to specify different action name than the method name which we have defined in our control class, as I have told you earlier. So let's see and learn it by taking an example. So let's move. In our previous lecture, we had made a student class, controller class, and I had defined two methods in this class. The first one was the index, and it has certain type of string, and the second one was the add action method, and its return type is action results, and I had thrown a complete and comprehensive light on action results in my previous lecture. So if you do not know what action result is, you can go and discuss, you can go and learn it through my video lectures which are online. So let's see how action name works and what kind of benefit we can get from this action name is. It is just, as I have told, an attribute, and this is a way of defining the attribute in C sharp. Within the two braces, within the two brackets, square brackets, we will define the action name as this is the beauty, as I had told in my previous lectures also. This is the beauty of the C sharp and especially the MVC, that whatever we think, whatever the name we take, most of the time we find the same corresponding method or class within the ASP.NET MVC. So I am taking the name of the action name. So with the name of the action, we have a class action name attribute basically, and within this action name attribute, I will define the name. I will what I want to keep for this add method. Let's say create new student, STUD and the student. I will make it capital so that we may keep the practice of keeping the names as camel case. So I have just, what I have done here, I have just put an attribute with the name action name on the top of very top of the add action method right before it, and I had kept the name of my add action method as create new student. As you can see that this create new student will give the end user some more information that what that guy or lady is going to do, what the action they are going to perform. So it will give you more user friendly kind of URLs, and you will definitely see it as a significant a performance enhancer, if I say, and if I'm not wrong. So let's see how it works and what kind of things we will get from it. So let's compile it. I will just compile it without debugging. So it is building my project, and as soon as it gets completed, the output will be shown in the browser. Basically, it is taking a while here, so just wait for a bit. Okay, so it has loaded. So let's see how it works. So we had a controller class with the name of student. So I just write student in my browser, and so let's go over here and let's write student, because I have not put any link on the website. So we will just type in the address bar student slash, and let's first of all try to write add action method, because it should be fired. So let's see what is the result. So add, let's see what's happened. So it is saying that the resource cannot be found, while we have clearly written an action method add within the student class. What is the reason? The reason is very clear. We have just changed its name to create new student. So instead of calling add, which we had just made hidden from the end user, we should call create new student. When I will write create new student in my address bar, as I have kept the name action name as create new student, it will definitely make a call to this method. Okay, sorry, I have just copied the wrong thing. Copy it from, okay, create new student. I'm going to write it there. Create, create new student. It might give you another error because I have not created a relevant view for this creative student, but at least it will be fired. Okay, let's click on, let's press enter button. Right, let's see what happened. Oh yes, you can see that the call has been made through the add action method, and this time we are getting the result that there is no relevant corresponding view present for this uh, action method. So we'll have to create a new view with the name creative student. So let's go and add some view and see what happens now. So I'm going to right. I will just right click within the pocket within the body of this action method add, and we'll go and we'll try to write. We'll try to create a new add new view by clicking on the add view item list. So once I have clicked on this at a menu, a dialog box has appeared in front of me, and you can see that it has automatically picked up the name of the view, and also which is the same as of action method. You can see here, you can see here it is the same like this action method. This is add and this is add, but it has made it highlighted. You can just go and change it, but the best practice is best practice is to just keep it the same, so that you do not need to write the name of the view in the pocket of this view method. So just keep it the same, and it will be automatic. It will be automatically picked up by the MVC framework, and you will not have to write here any name of the view. So leave the template as is, and do not make it clear a partial view, and use the default layout. Thank you very much. So just go and click on the add button. Oh, it is taking a while again. So let's remain it to complete its work and do not disturb it. So it has done, it is done, and you can see it has created a view with the name add, and extension is .cs html, and it has it has a variable view bag which has a property, runtime property title, and it has the title has been set to add. So let's change it and write it create new student. That's it. And also I'm going to change the same here as a title, create new student. So that's it. So let's see the effect of this change within the browser. Control F5, Control F5, and I think I will have to compile it once again because I have not compiled it. So let's compile and see the result. Control F5. Right. Now it will make some changes accordingly. It has said there's no add because I had selected add by default, so I'm going to change this to create new student. Let's see what's happened now. It is giving me the error once again, so I will have to make it accordingly. I think I will have to clear the cache, and I will have to also make sure each and everything is very fine. There must be no error. Add css, just that has been saved. That has been saved. We'll have to just clean the solution. We'll have to rebuild the solution. We'll have to go and start without debugging. Control F5. Let's see what's happened now. I've just copy and paste the student with the new screen. It must show the everything to me. Okay, right. Still tasking me some error. I think I will have to make sure everything is. It is looking for some create new student ASPX. All right. So we'll have to change the name accordingly as we have kept the name. Create new student. So let's see and let's change the name and see what's happened. Okay, stop and stop, and so let's see. Change it to add. I will change it to create new student. Right. So I will just keep the name here within my students controller. I will tell where you need to go. Okay, so you need to go and create, right? So we have different methods. So I will just create a view result object that renders the specific view object with the data is rendered to response, and we have just string view name. We have the name of the view that is rendered to the response, right? This is what we have used. Thank you. So let's save it. Once again, I will try to clean solution. So right, I will build my solution, and after that I will just go and start it without debugging, and this time it should run perfectly. Let me copy the things here, right, and right, it has been there. I must write ST should be and student and create new student. Oh, right, great. We have, you can see that the view create new student has been fired appropriately, and we can see the result here. So this is what happened after having changed and putting the action name just before the name of the actual action method. We had changed and kept the name action name as create new student, and we had tried to add a view with the name add, and it kept on giving us error that the page create new student could not be found. So what I did, I changed the name of the view from add to create new student. I have changed and kept a new action name. So, and after having changed the name, I put the name of the create new student in the pocket of the view method, which is basically creates a view result object by using the view name that renders a view. So after having done this task, this after having written these few line of course and having done this modification in this section method, we were able to see the successful results of what we wanted to get. So this was action name. So let's see what the next is. The next is non-action. Basically, non-action selector attributes indicates that a public method, because more we can always keep our action method public. A public method of a controller is not an action method. We had seen that all the methods within the controller class should be public. The action methods can be private and cannot be private and cannot be protected. It should be public. But if you write any method which we want to give access publicly, but we do not want to make it an action method, which will be fired after writing the name of that action method or action name, which we have just changed in the browser address bar, we will have to put this non-action on the just before the name of the action method, which we want to just give access to the public but do not want to make that action method. So but do not want to treat it as an action method. So let's see how this works. So we will just create another action method in our studio, and we'll put an attribute just before the name of that public. So I just want to say it should be string, right? Again, you can also return integer or whatever you want to return, but this is certainly not an action method, and it will never be fired and will never be treated as an control action method and triggered as the basic part of the MVC. So string non-action. Let's write name here. Action method. Right. I have just kept the name non-action method. It is not meaningful because I'm just going to tell you about this basic idea. But when I will start making a complete application in order to give you more insight how MVC works and how you can create your application by web application by using this MVC infrastructure, MVC framework. So you will have more information at that time. So and the methods will be very relevant according to the student controller which we will create, whether it is student, whether it is teacher, whether that is invoice or whatever you are going to make up and whatever the need of your project is. So and I will just return I am a public non-action method defined in a controller class, right? So this is how about, and we are not done, right? We are not done, and we need to do one more task. We need to write here non-action, right? That's good. We have just put the name, put an attribute just before the name of the method which we just want to make public and do not want to make action method. So that's good. That's good. So let's compile it once again. Build the solution, right? I'm also build the solutions. You can just go and start without debugging, right? And or debugging, you can just go and debug it. It will just definitely give you some output without any error. It will compile and will give you access to what you want to involve. So let's see what's happened. Oh yeah. I'm going to write student, right? And right here. Very good. It is saying it is not an action method, and you cannot call it in the same way as you are used to call your student action method. So public method cannot be invoked. You can see the error here. The source cannot be found. While I have just made a very correct action method, very correct method within the controller class, but this is not an action method. It is not just because I have a certain type string. It's just because I have put an attribute non-action before the prototype of this method. So this is a very reason, and it cannot be invoked in the same way as action method is. Action method is invoked. So this was all about action name and action non-action. So your question might arise in your minds. So how would it be called, and what is the way to call this action method? Most of the time we want to give access to the people who want to grab some data or information from your repository, but you do not want them to trigger their own specific missiles or the other things to your home, and must not be fired, and you should be worried about your home also. Thank you very much. This was all about So I'm going to finish my today's lecture, and in our next lecture we will discuss about action verbs. So class, um, if and guys, if you want to have a very good application, if you want to have a website for your company, for your personal use or whatever you want, or if you want to get some mobile application and you are in hurry and in need, and you want some economical uh, but trendy websites and mobile apps, please to contact us at info@resourcesummit.com or solution_summit@yahoo.com, and do not and we will definitely get back to you with the code. Thank you very much, and do not forget to make a call to us. Thank you, friends. Thank you.